What is going on, you guys? My name is Cody Thixton, and this is Interesting Podcast. Coming to you guys on November 13th, 2023 for episode 79, where today we have another very, very special guest. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Let's get right into this. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is an absolute pleasure to bring to you guys Mickey Mantoya.
Hi, my name is Mickey Mantoya. I am a indie wrestler. It's good to meet you, Cody.
Dude, it is an absolute pleasure to have you here. Thank you so very much for joining us.
Yeah, of course.
Awesome. Well, maybe if you can introduce your name and then maybe how long you've been in pro wrestling.
Yeah, name's Mickey Mantoya. I've been wrestling for about 2.5 years. Uh, yeah, 2.5 years. It feels like it's been a lot longer, but yeah, I guess just 2.5.
That is crazy. I know me and you had kind of spoken, like you had said that you were a part of the Lionsgate Dojo.
No, Dragonflex Dojo.
There you go. I apologize. There you go. Yeah.
All good,
I apologize.
all good. Yeah, no, all good. I train up at Dragonflex Dojo in Everett, Washington. That is the school I train at.
That is cool. So it's like, what was it like for you to actually want to actually get into professional wrestling? Like, when did that whole story start?
Oh, getting into it kind of happened in high school. I I didn't really like professional wrestling as a kid. Uh, I saw clips of it in high school. I thought, oh, that looks sick as hell. And then yeah, then I started training like before COVID at a different school, Lucha Libre Volcanica in Seattle for like a couple months, and then COVID happened, and I had to wait a long time. Then Dragonflex opened up. And I went there. That was kind of my experience. I, it's not like not too glamorous. It's all pretty like short. I didn't really like grow up wrestling, watching wrestling or liking wrestling. I didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, can you kind of like walk us through like your whole first day of actually going there and training and like what was going through your mind as like what you wanted to accomplish stepping into those doors?
Yeah, I guess what was going through my head was don't die, because like when you first do, yeah, when you first like start doing wrestling, you're just like, oh, it's like it can't be that bad, right? And then it's just really tough on the body. I wasn't ready for that. My neck was so sore, just
Yeah.
from like tucking my chin all the time, rolling and bumping on day one was very tough for sure.
Yeah.
Especially like not natural, doesn't come to people naturally to fall down in that way. You have to like retrain your brain. It's a lot more mental stuff uh, that I remember than like anything physical. Mostly like my
Yeah.
neck's the only thing I remember like hurting.
Yeah. So like, well, what was like maybe some like struggles that like you had like gone through like training? Like, can you like explain some of those to us a little bit?
Yeah. At first I was just like terrible at everything, like literally everything. Like if you asked my coaches, they said like, yeah, there's nothing you could do that was good. Everything's kind of just bad. No, wait, that's not true. There's one thing I could jump. They said I could jump pretty well, but eventually I found my stride. I think like just moving around the ring, rolling and flying is like something I got like used to. a lot quicker than other things, but technical stuff like chaining, just never really got good at. I'm just all right. I'm just passable in that regard. Uh, but like, yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
well,
like, how do you
was
even get to this spot?
yeah. Yeah, well, was there ever a time in which like somebody had to like really like push you and like tell you like, hey, like you need to be able to, execute this and like was really, really trying to get you to get the move down?
Yeah, yeah. My coach Dave Turner, he definitely was like getting me about strikes. My strikes were really bad. I remember there he just took me aside and like really like showed me how to get this done. And, like it was still like bad, god awful. It took me forever just to get a decent like forearm strike down. But like he just like, yeah, this is how hard people are gonna hit you. Just fucking gave me a big one. And I was like, oh shit. It's like I gotta make sure I, you know, don't try to like make my stuff look fake, for lack of a better word. I'd like make sure like all my strikes look good. And
Mhm.
just like I forget, like we were like talking for like 30 minutes or an hour or something just about like a forearm. That was really early on. Like really early on.
Yeah. Yeah, do
Yeah.
you mind me asking about Tony Tornado?
Yeah, what about what do you
Yeah,
want to
so
know
like
about Tony Tornado?
yeah, so like when did that whole first character kind of get developed?
Uh it didn't really. I went to my first wrestling show, my first ever match. Uh and they said, "What's your name?" And I just gave them my real name. And they said, "No, like, what's your wrestling name?" I was like, "I don't really have one." So they said, like, "Well, can you come up with something real quick? Because your normal name kind of sucks." And I'm like, "Okay." Tony Tornado. And then they said, "Oh, okay, that works, I guess." And then the legend was born of Tony Tornado.
That is
Yeah,
cool.
it
I
was.
know. I was. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, like, it was very much a spur of the moment thing. I never ever even did like a tornado move, like not a tornado DDT or anything. So I was like, it was kind of like, yeah, it was just like a really silly name that had nothing to do with anything that I did at all. So
Oh, that is awesome. I know. I was watching one match where you and CJ Edwards were facing Rook Kelly and Rashad Tyson, and like that
yeah,
was like before you guys had kind of formed a little bit. So like, how was it performing against Rashad Tyson before you guys had actually formed as a tag team?
wrestling against him,
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, he was a solid worker. Like working against him, he was a heel in that match. He had really good heat, real dynamic stuff. I had really no complaints with him, like in that regard, you know. Because like I guess
Yeah.
for me, it's just like what was done to me in that match, and like did I get hurt? And I was like, yeah, I got hurt, but I didn't get hurt by Rashad, you know. So he did great.
Yeah. Yeah, I understood that like at the end of that match that like Rook Kelly had kind of like taken off from the ring, and it almost seemed as if like Rashad Tyson was kind of like defending you in that moment. Was that like the beginning of when you guys actually started to kind of come together?
Not exactly. No, it was we hadn't like even thought about tagging at that point. He just checked on me. He was just doing the right thing, and seeing
Yeah.
like if I was okay. And
Yeah.
I just told him, yeah, no, I'm good, thank you. He really it was super polite.
Yeah. Yeah. So like when did you actually start to come up with the Mickey Montoya character?
Less of a character, more of a. I heard "Hey Mickey" at Safeway, and I thought, damn, that's like that could be a good chant. If I get people to chant "Hey Mickey, you're so fine," then that'd be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
So thanks Safeway for creating Mickey Mantoya.
Yeah.
I was like, and I was like,
Oh,
oh,
man.
I could work out of this.
So like, and how do you actually like go about creating like that whole new character and then having to go to certain companies and be like, hey, like I know that you had known me as this, but now like this is what I'm now transitioning into. This is what I want to do with my character.
Well, it's kind of a tough question because for me, uh, like for me as a wrestler, it's when I go to anywhere, it's kind of whatever they need, right? If
Mhm.
they need me to be a heel or a face, then that's what I like put first and foremost. Like if I want to, be a bad guy, I'm going to be hopefully the baddest guy I can be, Uh, and as a bad guy, right? It's you got a lot more freedom to like kind of express yourself,
Yeah.
if that makes
Yeah.
sense.
So
So like that's one of the reasons I think like it was a good change because it let me kind of go outside my comfort zone and try something new and be something
yeah.
that I don't know if it's more genuine, but like definitely like something rather than nothing.
Mhm. Yeah. So it's like, well, what do you think would be, in your own words, like what drives you to want to be different than every other wrestler in the Pacific Northwest?
I don't know. I feel like I'm like every other wrestler because everyone, or maybe not. I feel like everyone's a lot more talented than me in most things. I see everyone. I'm just like, man, I can't do anything that these guys can do.
Mhm.
At least I feel
Yeah.
like it.
No.
I just think everyone out here is so amazing. Uh,
No.
I think the only thing I can really say that I do different is, well, I don't try to get cheered all the time. Sometimes I kind of want to, right? But because everyone wants to.
Mhm.
But I want to hear people. I want people to react the way I want them to react, and I feel like I accomplish that at least 90% of the time
Yeah.
when I go out and wrestle. You
Yeah.
know?
So like, yeah. So like, I know you had just like kind of said that like you're not as good as the performers in the Pacific Northwest, but like all the times that like I've seen you, like you've really impressed me with everything that you do. And I just wanted to like ask you like how do you actually like go about, your move set? I could imagine I've seen like a little bit of like Rashad's vlog and like how he'll kind of have like that like almost like pad where you can go up and perform, different things and just do whatever. Like have you been able to like go along with that and then kind of develop your whole move set?
Yeah, I think so. There's some things like I've practiced that I've never like done. I'm like, man, I should try this on a show, but I never do because I'm afraid that it just won't. It actually isn't that good. But the things I do, I think that no one else. Things I do, I like that I do because like no one else is doing it. Like I do a rolling jumping DDT. No one does that I've seen. I do uh like a tajiri backwards kick and thing. I don't know what to call it. I just always call it like a handspring enteguri or tajiri enteguri. And like those are things like only I've seen myself do really. I don't see anyone else around here doing it. So I kind of take pride in the things I've come up with on my own. And the things I have ripped off that no one else has ripped off yet too. It's like yeah, because
Yeah, so
like
like
yeah, go ahead, sorry.
no, 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 go ahead.
I had nothing to say. I was just making random noises. So go right ahead.
No. No, I was just gonna ask, like, because you had just brought up to Jerry about like maybe some other wrestlers that you kind of really want to bring in the ring that you really drive inspiration from.
Oh, okay. Yeah, there's a couple. Uh, one of them is uh Shinsuke Nakamura. He's my favorite wrestler. I try not to do everything exactly that he does. I try to make it like very different. If I see something that he does, I'm like, okay, how can I do a different move or something like that he does? He's a big inspiration for me. Antonino Roca, he's just some guy that my teacher recommended who's like from like the 70s or 60s, and he's insanely good. he's got like a really different style. Other one, Dynamite Kid, Tiger Mask the second, because like I just watched their matches and I was like, oh, this shit's awesome. I just feel like something from like each of them from time to time.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah.
like my main inspirations, I think. Uh, oh yeah, sorry. I think I have two more maybe. Will Ospreay, Kenny Omega. I think everyone on the Indies is inspired by them though. So, that's just like that's everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, so like how is it like being a professional wrestler and then being able to take those inspirations and then be able to be in that situation where you can kind of resemble them in the ring in your own way?
Uh, it depends, right? Like I think like when it comes to like character stuff, it's like just being like mad, right? Like I think like Randy Orton. I would like to think like when I get mad, I want to get mad like Randy. I mean, I'm nowhere near that, obviously. But like there were times when like I was able to like kind of pull like that like level, like that level like I'm looking for uh in like important matches. And then when I like go to like throw a strike of some kind, I think okay, I'm throwing it like a Dynamite Kid did, right? Or I would like if I hit a suplex, I'm gonna hit it like Dynamite Kid. If I'm gonna go for uh like a cartwheel into something, then I'm gonna do it like Tiger Mask did, right? That's kind of how I think of like my wrestling. Uh, like how like all those guys like affected my movesets. Like I do it like they did for the most part. If that makes sense. I don't know. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. You had just kind of like brought up kind of like important moments, and I know when I was kind of like going throughout um, everything, like you were able to be in your first main event against Sebastian Wolf. So, like, can you kind
Yeah.
of like walk us through that day a little bit?
Oof, I was nervous. I was really nervous because I hadn't wrestled like a live show in like a month, and I also like hadn't. I'd also just gotten back from like Disneyland. I gotten fired. I didn't have a job for a month, and that was like all this happened like the month leading up to Peaks for show.
Hmm.
And I was just so nervous. I was like, God, I hope I don't miss a win match. That's it. I wasn't like really thinking about. I was like, all this other stuff like sucked. I was like, I just gotta focus on the one thing that's coming up. And I think overall, like, I was really excited. I was really nervous. Uh, and I'm always like, I think I could have done better. I'm really glad with like the match itself, right? But like, I'm always like, I think we could have done better, especially on my part. Sebastian was amazing, obviously. He really helped me out a lot just by having that match with me. So it really like pushed me, I feel, to like have like hopefully like a main event match that people were really excited for. It felt like the crowd was really into our match. So I overall like I would say like it was a success in that regard.
Yeah. Yeah. Was there anything that like he kind of like told you when you guys were kind of sitting down and like going over your match and what you guys wanted to do with each other? Was there anything that like really made you intrigued about how the match was going to go based off of what he had said?
Uh yeah, just one maybe two things. So when we talked about the match and walked through it, he told me to like, you know, call the match without talking. I was like, what? Okay. That's a weird one. I never wasn't ready for that. I was like, okay, I'm usually using my words when I talk. But he's like, no, you just let's talk it. Let's walk it through without words. I was like, okay. And then we did that. I was like, okay, it makes sense. Test your test a whole different like muscle in your brain, you know. And then
Mhm.
there's like a conceptual like thing I don't really do in a match, but I'm like, okay. It changes like the power flow of the match, and it really like made me think about matches a little bit differently because it wasn't something like I thought would like make sense, but like it totally does looking back on it.
Yeah. Yeah, was there anything that like maybe he had kind of told you about his AEW experience and maybe what you could expect if you were to make it to a grand stage like AEW?
Like that? No, we didn't talk about that. I mean, I'll be honest, my head wasn't even on that in the mo at the moment. It was just
Hmm.
like this match right now is probably uh one of the most important ones I think I've had so far, if not the most important, because it was like big thing for Peak. It was a big thing for me. It was a big thing for my school, my coaches. It just really that was like the main thing on my mind was just like the present. I didn't even think about like AEW or asking him about that at all.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
yeah, I just focused on having a good time. I guess I was like, oh, God, I hope I do good. Get through
No,
this.
no.
Kind of,
It's totally good. So like when did you actually meet Rashad Tyson for the first time?
God, years ago, when I first started training at Dragonplex, he was there, and we just trained together for like a long time together. You know,
Mhm.
at Dragonplex for like 2 years. So,
Interesting.
and then we didn't start tagging until a few months ago, like 9 months ago or something like that.
Mhm.
So the tags are they, I don't even think it's 9 months. I think it's like 6 months now. So we haven't been tagging too long, but I like our tag team. It's a really good dynamic. It's a really good just gimmick in general.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like, how did you guys, like, form everything? Like, when did you guys kinda come together and you're like, "Man, like, we could actually, like, make this into something." Like, can you walk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so Rashad said he wanted to do more tag stuff. And then I think we were just talking. He's like, hey, I got an idea. It's the Golden Guys. I think he just pitched it to everybody at the time. And I just thought, oh, that'd be fun. And then we were just doing tag matches. I think we tagged maybe to try it out just to see like if the Golden Guys idea could work with us. And I mean, we thought it did, and I think it does clearly work if you like watch the DOA. Then our tag team clearly is like, I think it's a success. I think it's really good. I think it's we're effective as heels. People really uh like our characters in the best way that they hate us. They boo us. They hear our music and they get loud boos, and I think that's great.
Yeah. Yeah, so, like,
Yeah.
what do you think that is something that Rashad Tyson brings to your guys' tag team or matches that you kinda notice that is, like, a really big part of both of your guys' characters coming together?
Uh, that's a tough one. I feel like we both try to like contribute like equally, but I think he contributes the most to all of our character stuff
Mhm,
and the way to integrate all our character bits into our spots that we do run. And I think he's really brilliant in that regard because like he finds ways to like just fit character things like into like anything. And
mhm.
that's something I want to do, but like I don't have the brain for it. He does, you know. I get spots sometimes. I think I understand the flow of a spot, what's too much, what's too little. But he really gets like the character stuff down right, and he's got good like timing and variety, and with all of that.
Yeah, I know that there was, like, a certain period of time where, like, you guys have been with, Mr. Ooh La La. So, like,
Yeah,
how was it like working with him? Like, did he kind of give you guys any advice as to how to go about your guys' tag team? And, like, can you share with us maybe a little piece of advice that he had actually given you guys?
advice from Ulala.
Mhm,
Well, I mean, working with the manager is just like different compared to
mhm,
like just working with a tag team. With the manager, it gets you like a lot more opportunities to use like character and break up a match differently. I think Ulala helped us in that way, you know, because like
mhm.
we sometimes we will just rush through things, and I think Ulala helped us slow down a lot. Also, another thing helped us with is like just doing promos. at DOA. Just like he's a good guy, real good guy. I don't know what else I can say about him.
Yeah. Yeah. How
Uh,
how was it like getting prepared to go out and like cut a promo,
oof.
and like know that like it's gonna be, you know, broadcasted to, like a bunch of people, and know that you have to like really drive home the storyline that you're really trying to build.
Well, luckily, Rashad is really good at that, so I never have to worry about it. You know, I think the only time I've talked really in our promos was at this last one at DOA, and I think that was like the first time I said anything. Because like before,
Mhm.
we had a bit where it was like, oh, do a flip, and then oh, do another flip, and then do make a face, right? And it was funny because like sometimes he would just get carried away and then like take a step forward, and I'll be like in the background, be like, "Where are you going?" I try to hold his hand, and he walked away. You know, just happened organically. It was just really funny, and I
Yeah.
just love. I was okay with that for a while, but I was like, in this next promo, I was like, I'm gonna say stuff. And I don't know, like, if you've seen that promo for DOA, but it was a really good one. I liked it a lot. And that was like my first time, like, really, really talking. Tried to like, get across like our message together rather than letting Rashad do it and then like being a little background character kind of and just like give me a little giggle, a little like bit in the background, you know?
Mm, yeah. So let's kind of talk about DOA Furious Fists. So that was your guys' first event as a tag team. Am I correct?
Was it, uh, who did we
Or
wrestle
was
with?
it you guys wrestled Amira and Drexel?
Yeah, that was our first ever tag match. A little lie. It was
Yeah.
it was a hardcore match against Drexel and Amira. Yeah, God,
Yeah.
that was a really fun one.
That is so cool. So it's like when did that whole I guess segment, or going and having the first match be against Rashad and Amira, and then have to come in and then have Drexel come and save you guys, like how did that whole storyline kind of come to fruition?
That just kind of happened the day before because there was some stuff kind of happened with people not being able to make it to the show. So it was kind of a short notice change.
Mhm.
But Drexel is able to like change stuff and make it a whole new story. It was pretty good, I thought. Like it was just a very quick, bad guys, new bad guys come in, beat up the face. Drexel comes in for the save. Books ends with bad guys losing, right?
Mhm.
Simple, but it was really really good. And I think we learned our dynamic pretty quickly, just like how it would work live, and then like it turned out really good. Like both for the match where Rashad fought Amira, and then like in our tag match in the main event, it was really natural feeling, just our flow. I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was really funny in the main event how like they had kind of gone outside the ring even though your guys' music was going, and then went behind the curtain, grabbed you and just threw you outside.
Yeah, that was super good. I was oh man, I was so scared to like even go out because I was like, God, I've never done hardcore at all, and
Yeah.
that was it. And then I learned pretty quickly, like, man, I fucking don't like hardcore that much. I mean, I like it enough, right? But like, I'm like, man, it's not my first choice. It's not my
That is
first choice.
awesome. Yeah, so I got two questions on some weapons. One, how is it actually like being stapled and having like dollar bills or whatever like being like stapled to your skin? How is that as a performer?
Oh, I mean, I'll be honest, I don't like it. People are like, oh, it's not that bad. It's like, yeah, it's not that bad, but it's like, it still sucks. It's not great. You know, I did kind of like, and the more it like happened, I was like, no, maybe it isn't that bad. I was like, I
Mhm.
kept getting my like forehead stapled, and I was like, hey, can you stay on my chest? It was Amir. She was stapling me in the head a lot, and I said, "Hey, can you staple me in the chest?" And then she says, "Sure." Staples me in the chest once, then goes back to stapling my head. I was like, "Okay." I didn't even feel the staple on my chest. Like I just kept getting stapled in the head. So it
Mhm.
was it was really funny. Like you would never notice
Yeah,
that like watching that. That's like the most hilarious thing to me that happened that night. Just staple,
that is
staple, staple in
awesome.
my head. And yeah, I just asked for some
Yeah,
variety. I didn't get it.
yeah, I had noticed that like during the match, like everybody was kind of like up in the corner, and you guys were all kind of like going through, and I think it was kind of like setting up for a segment in which everybody would kind of go through the table, or some like Amira would slam, everybody through the table, but then like she kind of had like caught you, and then like was kind of like trying to just like set you, and then it broke. And then Drexel had to
Yeah,
come up and like slam Rashad Tyson onto you. And so it's like, how was it going through
yeah.
that where you were like, oh crap, like it had kind of like messed up a little bit, and then having Rashad Tyson just slam onto you.
Well, I kind of knew like, oh, well, that sucks. I wish that didn't happen, but it was already kind of messed up because the table like leg had broken and it wasn't holding up, so we had to
Mhm.
change that. And then I had to, we just had to like try to like work around it. And then like it was kind of my own fault for like just flailing around being an idiot. And then I just like lay on the table, snaps, and then like I'm just like waiting for a shot to like land on me. He got like the worst of it because like his tailbone like hit the edge of like the table. He just like got like a big welt on like his lower back for like fucking ever. It's so I was like, yeah, it's like the shot he like landed on me, but it's like he got like the worst of it on his tailbone. And I
Yeah.
think Amir like when we lost, like someone like stepped on like his head or something, and then like he had a staple in it, and then like he just started oozing blood because I pulled the staple out. I don't think they stepped on. I think they just like dragged their foot across or something. I don't know what happened, but like he got so messed up and he's bleeding so much after that match.
Yeah. Yeah. So, like, how was it as a professional wrestler or going throughout your career and like working for all of these different companies? Like, how is it for you to kind of gauge each company and like go in and be like, okay, so like this is the spot that I'm going to be able to be given, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You gotta. I always look at everything like just make the most of it, right? You want to do what like you're told at the end of the day.
Mhm.
I mean, you really don't want to like upset anybody, so I'm just like, okay, I'll do my job and I'll do it the best I possibly can, so that way they keep me around, hopefully for next show. That's kind of like my mindset with like every show that I am on, you know,
Mhm. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So,
I don't
um,
really know.
so, I was gonna ask you, is there any like really like cool like road stories that you can tell us about like maybe having to travel to these different companies or going for those extended hours?
Yeah. It sucks just driving all the time, but like, you do it because you love wrestling at the end of the day. I do have
Mhm.
one. I don't have many good road stories because I cheat. I just try to sleep for most of it when we're driving. I'm usually gonna at least take a 2 hour nap minimum. So I usually miss out all the fun stuff. And if I'm driving, then I'm like I don't say anything because I'm a terrible driver, so I'm not gonna interact with anybody for the most part.
Mhm. Yeah.
I got one funny story though. It's kind of funny. Uh, so we were coming home from a DOA. It was me and Chris Brady. We went down. Uh, God, I don't even remember what show it was. I feel like it was probably like a year ago or something, maybe over a year ago. We did a DOA. I wasn't on the show. I was just helping out, I think. And I think Sandra Moo was on the show, and she had played Industry Baby because that's her entrance. And when we were driving back, I fell asleep because that's all I do when I'm in the car. I sleep. And when I woke up, Chris Brady said, "Dude, you're fucking insane." I was like, "What are you talking about? You just kept singing. You sang for like an hour." I was like, "No, I didn't. I was sleeping." He's like, "Yeah, you were. You just like stood up. You just sat up straight, eyes wide open, and you started singing, and then you just laid back down and just were like mumbling for like a song for an hour." I was like, "Oh, okay. I think I know what song." He's like, "Yeah, I don't know what it was." He just like he just showed me what I was doing. He's like, it was like guttural screams almost. Is what he described it. And it was Industry Baby because I heard Sandra Moon. I was like, come out to it like right before. And I was like, oh, okay, that's the only reason why. It's like he should be the fuck out. Yeah,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, well, I wanted to ask you because I know earlier you were kind of talking about like Tajiri and like his whole move, and something I wanted to bring up to you was kind of like that springboard into the ropes and then coming back and then doing that like almost like wheel kick, you know?
oh,
And so like
that I call it the handspring enzuigiri because I jump up and I kind of hit like an enzuigiri. Then I usually either roll off it or I flip bump. Usually it's a roll because I don't like
yeah.
to bump off everything.
Yeah, so like when did you like come up with that whole move and like really be like, okay, that is something that is really my taste and what I want to bring.
That I was practicing for a little bit because I was like, I'm pretty sure I can like hit an enzuigiri from like Tajiri, right? But I was like, I think I can do it better if I just like jump up like further, right? So I'm just like thinking like, how can I make this look better? Because I think it looked okay, but I was like, it can look way better. And then like I think it was the last wax show. I just kind of went for it, and I was like, okay, I've never hit it like this before, but I just got to do it because this is like the last show for whack. I don't know if you watched Without a Cause whack at all, but I was on the last show. It was me, Flex, Danny Frey, and Judas Icarus, and I hit it on Judas. That was the first time I ever hit it like that. And I was like, I got a huge baby face pop. I was like, oh fuck yeah, this is the best, best time I'm ever gonna hit this move, and the best way I'm gonna ever hit this move. And now I hit it like that almost every time, and I don't really get that reaction anymore. But it was mostly an accident, but it's what I intended, right? I was like, I gotta just go for it and like just like
Yeah.
jump as far as I can.
Yeah. Yeah. But how was that like going up and like doing those moves and then just being like, I just have to just go for it. Like that has to be like pretty crazy to have to get into that mental state of being able to do that.
Yeah, well, like you gotta like weigh like risk and reward, right? At the end of the day, but you also gotta like to say like what's the worst that can happen to you? Like I never tried doing a backflip before, but I'm like, okay, if I what's the worst that can happen if I do a backflip, right? Like either I land in a moonsault or I land on my feet or I land on my butt. I'm not gonna like get hurt. I won't die. So
Mhm.
then I'm just like, I gotta say like what's the worst that can happen? I die. And then if I die, I'm like, okay, well that's pretty bad. Maybe I won't do it. But I'm like, oh, but if I do it, it'll be kind of cool.
Mhm.
So that was kind of like that with the handspring degrees. The last show, I was like, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I don't think I'll die.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I did it. I don't think I'll die,
Mhm.
so I'll try.
Yeah. So how is it kind of facing hold on. Most violent. There you go. I apologize. How is it facing Funny Bone and Drexel and like standing like across the ring from them? Like, is there something that like, goes through your mind of like, oh shit, I'm about to go through it?
Not really. I'm about to go through it. It just feels very much like I'm not like anywhere near these guys' level. You know,
Mhm.
like I've always known that with Drexel, but like I didn't really like talk to Funny Bone much until we had a match. And
Mhm.
then like I just stood across from him. And I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's a badass, and I can't touch him at all. He just radiated that energy, just like being there in the ring opposite of me. I'm like, okay, I know he's not gonna like, you know, kill me, but like at the same time, I'm like, damn, he's so badass. I believe it. I believe the character.
Yeah, yeah. Is there
Also,
anything that that he had kind of like told you like before the match that you had thought would like really work, where you were like, oh, that would be like a perfect idea?
it kind of changes the way I think about like a lot of wrestling. When we were going over a spot, he was saying, I'm gonna hit all this, 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 and this. And he said, oh yeah, don't bump on any of this. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, you don't need to bump on any of this. It doesn't, you don't need to. Just save your bumps. And like, it kind of changed the way like I thought about wrestling. Like, you can like make a big impact with like a good sell and a good like, a good strike. So like, not everything has to be bump, bump, bump. I don't. Funny Bone wasn't even really teaching me. He was just like telling me so I didn't fuck up the match. Like he gave. But those, it really changed the way I think about wrestling. It's like, okay, you can hit all this and this, and like save your body a little bit. It doesn't have to be like bumps all the time.
Yeah, yeah. So okay, so let's talk about the PDX Hot Sauce Expo. Can you walk us through like what exactly you did at that event, or how that was for you to go there and actually be able to perform?
Uh, yeah, I've done it twice actually. I did it once, I think, a year ago or year and a half ago, and then I did it again last time they did it. I only did it like one day the year before, but I did it like every day that they did were doing. I think they did it 2, 3 days. I don't remember, but I worked. No, I think they just did it 2 days. Yeah, I worked two of their students. They were both pretty good. Uh, they're both very good students from Oregon Pro, and it was kind of rough just because it was so like hot. Because it was like 100-degree weather that weekend, and I was like, "Fuck, this is so hot." But like after that, like just working that weekend, it was like a lot. Everything else like felt like colder. Like I felt like I had brain cardio for days. I felt like I could just wrestle forever after wrestling in 100-degree weather.
Yeah.
And it was just a really cool experience overall, just being there, just like trying all the hot sauce and stuff. But also like the crowd's like kind of different because they're not like a regular wrestling crowd.
Yeah. So like are you more of like a hot sauce dude?
Nope, I can't really handle the.
No, but
Yeah,
you still went and
I can't
tried it.
handle. Yeah, I can't handle hot like spicy stuff very well. I try hot sauce and I'm like, fuck, this is terrible. I'm dying. But some of it was pretty good. Some was pretty good. But
Yeah.
man, it all hurt. It all just hurts. And I'm like, I don't know how people can do this.
Oh, that is awesome. Well, I had kind of heard from Jackhammer that like when they were actually performing at the Hot Sauce Festival, that like when you had kind of slammed onto the mat, that because of how hot it was outside, that like it would kind of burn your skin a little bit. And like he had kind of like told people like, hey, like kind of maybe try and limit your bumps a little bit. So like how was it for you bumping in that just blistering heat?
Bumping, honestly, I didn't notice. I think it's just because of the material. There's like two types of materials, vinyl and canvas, I think.
Mhm.
Like I've worked in a wrestling ring with the Luchador like place in Washington, Lucha Libre Botanica. They have like I think it's vinyl. I think is what it's called. It's like plastic, and when that gets hot, that is like fire. So like at the Hot Sauce Festival, it was like canvas, so it was like a fabric. So if that's hot, it wasn't like that bad, at least for me. I had no problem like with the mat that day at all. I mean, it was just like hot outside, so I think like even if like I did notice that, I was like it was already just super hot already.
Yeah, interesting. So like who did you face at that festival?
I faced J Mar and Cole Rivera.
Mhm.
Oh, sorry, I
No, no, it's
dropped my
good.
phone. Sorry, I got a little
And
bit
like
of a
how
sore throat.
oh no, it's all good. all good. So like how did that whole match go? Like how did it end and everything?
With Jamar, it was God, how did that go? I mean, I all had a pretty new, I think still. So we just had like a very basic like match. And the same with Cole Rivera, pretty basic. Uh,
Hmm.
I made the ending a little bit complicated because I wanted to like just do something a little bit different from yesterday. I just didn't want to have like the same match back to back, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
So
like
like
the
what
matches are pretty.
go ahead.
No, yeah, no, the matches are just like very easy to like follow, very like simple like stories if you're watching it, you know?
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. So like what can we expect from your future? Like as far as like character development or what you want to do in the future?
For me, in general, I
Mhm.
just want to wrestle more. I want to go up to Canada and wrestle. Hopefully, I'll be doing that soon. Like, hopefully, really soon. I just gotta like message people and try to get on the shows that are up in Canada. The biggest things for me, like at least right now, like I want to get on like Prestige and Defy. I think that's like what everybody in this area wants, though. You know, Prestige is like I think is like the main thing I want to like try and get on right now, especially. Yeah, I think that's all I really have like close to me. Like I only think like in short-term goals for the most part. Yeah, those are my main focuses right now. After that, like it'd probably be like maybe try to get like on Ring of Honor and like Impact and like do extra work or something if I'm lucky. And then after that, like we'll go higher and higher. You
Yeah.
know, like I'm that Prestige is like the dream, I think. Just getting up there.
Well,
Yeah,
that
or
is
the
really cool. So like what does professional wrestling like mean to you as a professional wrestler?
I think it means like the same thing to me that it means to everybody else, you know. It's like the only thing that like makes you feel like valued, I guess. Like it when I wrestle, good or bad, people are watching me and they're experiencing something, right? Like if they're thinking like, man, this fucking sucks. This whole match sucks. This guy sucks. then
Mm.
like then it's something. If they're cheering me, they're going wild. Then like that's something. I feel like I'm being valued in wrestling. And like wrestling feels like right to do. I think for like anyone who does wrestling, like it's like, oh yeah, it's the only thing that like really feels right. I think that
That is
yeah, that's
so cool.
it.
That is so cool. So like where can all of the people who maybe don't know you find you on social media?
Oh yeah, I'm Mickey Mantoya wrestling on everything, I think. Or just Mickey Mantoya.
Mhm.
Yeah, on everything. Have an Instagram, a TikTok, a Facebook. I do have a Twitter. I've never used Twitter. I'm still like new to social media in general. I've only like got 4 posts on Instagram and like yeah, I'm kind of bad. I can be better. I just need to advertise myself more and just like post stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, man. Well, it was an absolute pleasure to be able to just sit down with you and know who Mickey Mantoya is. I really, really appreciate it.
Well, I appreciate you, man, just for having me on. I didn't think anyone would want me on like an interview at all ever. So this is super cool to me.
That is so awesome, man. Well, I hope I can actually see you soon, and I hope that you're actually in the DOA show coming up in February, and maybe we can actually meet again.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Yeah, I would love to.
All
I'd love
right.
to.
All right, man. Well, I hope you have a very, very good night.
Yeah, you as well.
All right, bye.
Bye.
All right, you guys. So that was Interesting's podcast interview with Mickey Montoya. Make sure to hit that like, subscribe button, ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I upload content. Make sure to go and follow me on social media at CodyT503. That's Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. And remember, the next interview that Interesting Podcast is going to be having is Luca Petrucci. This is going to be another interview you guys are not going to want to miss. So make sure you guys ring that notification bell so you guys get notified whenever I go live. I'll catch you guys later.